What's going on, y'all? Today we're going to be looking at UFC fights that you, yes you, who's watching this, did not know that we need in the UFC in the near future. Yes, we all know I'm the best matchmaker on YouTube, on TikTok. It doesn't matter, brother. Dana White, Hunter Campbell, they look to me when they're looking for banger fights, for super fights, they check out Casual Take MMA. Enough yapping, let's go ahead and dive into it, guys. I'm going to let you know right now, you're not going to get the basic, John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. We're not going to see Islam versus Ilya. Yes, those are the most anticipated fights of the year. The best fights the UFC could make right now. That's not the point of this video. We're here to make UFC fights that you did not know that you needed. But let's go ahead and get into it with the first one. Everybody knows about this matchup now. After this past weekend, everybody knows that we need Dricus du Plessis versus Reiner the Riddler. Reiner the Riddler just went out there and exposed Bo Nickel. Absolutely fraud checked this man. This man is not a striker. He's an elite grappler, I'm not going to lie. He's an elite fighter. You got to put some respect on this man's name. He's basically a copy and paste of Dricus du Plessis, bro. I don't know what's going on with the Dutchman. But, I mean, even RDR is calling out Sean Strickland. If he goes out there and beats Sean Strickland, bro, we got to investigate these dudes. Maybe the Dutchman, RDR fits perfectly into the plot armor category as well. The best base for MMA. If you haven't already, y'all go check out those videos. I guarantee you'll love them. But Reiner the Riddler needs to be studied, bro. We're going to have to make it, hold on. See, we're sparking new video ideas. We're going to have to make a video on UFC fighters that need to be studied. Because Reiner the Riddler and Dricus du Plessis are both front runners for that. Now, I've been seeing some memes. I've been seeing tweets about this hypothetical matchup. Dricus du Plessis versus Reiner the Riddler. Let me just read you some of the comments. Guys, listen. If Dricus du Plessis and Reiner the Riddler fight, I got DDP by brawling in a big ball of dust where limbs come out every now and then. I got RDR via drawing a fake tunnel on the wall and having Dricus du Plessis run into it. I got DDP by comically large hammer. As crazy as the DDP memes have been, none seem impossible to me for some reason. Like, DDP can actually Looney Tune jump over a takedown. Somebody said Dricus du Plessis by wearing a big mustache as disguise. Dricus du Plessis via anvil falling from the sky. Bro, I'm not going to lie, we need this matchup in 2026. It's not going to happen this year. Dricus du Plessis is going to fight Khamzat Chimaev. That's the best fight to make in that division. There should be no other title fights. But, if RDR wants to skip the line just for our sake, for entertainment purposes, for the Looney Tunes fight, I'm fine with it. Now, RDR has only had 3 fights in the UFC, but this man beat, I'm pretty sure, GM3 in his debut, and then takes a step up in competition, defeats Kevin Holland in 1 round, and then takes another step up, you can argue, but fights Bo Nickel, an undefeated prospect, and TKOs him in round 2. RDR just straight up made Bo Nickel quit. Bro, this is the scrap we need to see next. If Dricus du Plessis somehow plot armors his way to victory over Khamzat Chimaev, first of all, that'll put Dricus du Plessis as the 2nd greatest middleweight of all time, but also that'll put plot armor as probably the best base in MMA. I'll put it over Aura, I'll put it over Autism, I'll even put it over Rabies, bro. Because that is a Rabies versus plot armor showdown right there. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. But Dricus du Plessis versus Reiner the Riddler, bro, we need to see this, guys. For our sake. It doesn't look like a great fight on paper, bro. But DDP can't read, and I'm sure Reiner the Riddler can't read either. But us hardcore fans out there, man. Like me, obviously I'm a hardcore fan, bro. You know me. Dricus du Plessis versus Reiner the Riddler is an awesome fight. But let's keep moving on. Next up, guys. This is a fight that I feel like nobody has really put too much thought into. And honestly, I could so see this fight happening if Merab Dvalishvili did not recently state that he would never fight Volkanovski. You might be thinking, well, why even put this fight on here if they're never going to fight? I know, guys. I'm just hoping Alexander Volkanovski, if he was to continue to win and Merab Dvalishvili was to continue to defend his title, let Merab move up to featherweight, bro. Volkanovski versus Merab, I wouldn't call it a super fight. But this is a hardcore fans super fight. It's not really going to interest the casual viewer that much. But, bro, first of all, this is such a fight that Volkanovski could win. Merab known for his grappling and really cardio. Volkanovski is known for being very well-rounded. Also has insane cardio. Maybe not on the level of Merab, but Volkanovski is not going to gas out. So this is a fight that I really think Volkanovski would win. And, if Volkanovski is going to win, I'm all for it. Volkanovski reclaimed the title at UFC 314, man. As y'all know, it's made my entire year. I'm still happy. I'm still filled with joy to this day. This is a very hypothetical that could potentially happen down the line. If you can get both guys on board, sure. Volkanovski, if he goes out there, defends against Movsar Evloev, There's not really a next contender yet. Maybe Jean Silva, if he keeps winning, bro, that man's on a tear. And then Merab Dvalishvili, if he beats Sean O'Malley again, maybe he fights Corey Sandhagen next. Maybe he wants to move up for double champ. Volkanovski versus Merab is a hardcore man's fight, bro. But yeah, this one might be the most unlikely on the list just because Merab doesn't want to fight Volk. Volk probably doesn't really want to fight Merab either. But let's move on to the next one. This one is not that unexpected. This one's not that unpopular. I really wanted to throw this one in there sort of to rant. Why is Petr Yan apparently scheduled to fight Marcus McGee? Marcus McGee is a great fighter, don't get me wrong. But Petr Yan is what? Ranked second, maybe third in the world? Why is he not fighting a number one contenders fight? If the timing was right, we could have did Yan versus Sandhagen, a true number one contenders fight, but we can't. That's out the window. O'Malley's about to fight Merab. I guess Yan just wants to stay active because they have been talking about this fight. I think even Yan called out Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar is recovering from a hand injury, I believe, and he said he wouldn't be ready for June or July. He wants to fight, of course, you guessed it, in Abu Dhabi. Petr Yan, I don't know if he wants to stay active, just wants to take a fight in the meantime. Maybe the UFC kind of bribed him and needed a main event. So if it's the main event, I don't even know. But maybe they bribed Yan and said, look, if you take this fight and you win, we'll guarantee you a title shot next. That's the only reason I think Yan accepted this fight, because it doesn't make sense, bro. It makes zero sense. Marcus McGee, barely in the rankings, has not proven himself in the UFC yet. And then on the other hand, Yan is established in the bantamweight division, one of the best bantamweights in the world. Like, what are we doing? But Umar Nurmagomedov, obviously I'm wishing him a speedy recovery. I think he broke his hand in the Merab fight, which was a sick fight, by the way. I think Umar proved that he belongs. Yes, he's only had one ranked win, I believe, which was Corey Sandhagen. Great performance, by the way. But I feel like Umar could still be in a number one contenders fight, bro. He proved that he belonged against Merab. Very, very close fight. Very competitive fight. If Umar gets one more win, I'm not mad at him fighting for the title again. Now, is Merab going to accept a second title fight against Umar? Maybe not. But, I mean, as a fan, I think Umar wins the rematch. Anyway, let's transition into the real fights that you have never seen coming. You didn't know that you need. But after watching this, you'll realize that you need them. Khabib versus McGregor 2.0. And I need y'all to hear me out here, okay? I need y'all to hear me out because this fight right now makes zero sense, obviously. Islam Makhachev, the pound-for-pound greatest fighter in the world right now. Also, the lightweight champion. We need a couple things to play out for this to happen, okay? Obviously, Islam is from Dagestan, just like Khabib. Ian Garry from Ireland, just like Conor McGregor, okay? I'm cooking right now. I'm cooking. Just bear with me. Let's say that Jack Della Maddalena goes out there, defeats Belal Muhammad this weekend for the welterweight title. Boom, JDM is the new champion, and his first title defense is going to be against Islam Makhachev. So yeah, it's kind of a big screw you to everybody in the welterweight division, which they can't complain. Islam, like I said, is the pound-for-pound number one fighter in the world right now. But that could set up a potential number one contenders fight, maybe between Sean Brady and Shavkat. But if I'm the UFC, if you're punishing Arman Sarukian for pulling out of a fight and not giving him the title fight right after, then you got to keep that same energy for Shavkat Rakhmonov, the man who fights every year and a half, maybe even 2 years. The reason I'm saying that is because it was supposed to be Belal Muhammad versus Shavkat this weekend instead of Jack Della Maddalena, but he got injured again. So these are the things that have to fall into place for this potential matchup. We need Garry in a number one contenders fight, maybe against Sean Brady. It's probably against Sean Brady, which is a very tough ask for Garry to do. But if Garry somehow wins against Sean Brady, he's the new number one contender. Islam Makhachev, he has to beat JDM to become the 170 champ, because I don't think he's going to fight Belal Muhammad. I don't even think Islam would mind it that much, but Belal Muhammad has said no, 100% never fighting Islam. So in this little roadmap, we need JDM to win the championship and then Islam to take the belt off of JDM. In the meantime, Ian Garry becoming the new number one contender. And maybe, hopefully Islam doesn't retire right after. I could see that, honestly. But maybe Dana White in there, Hunter Campbell, all them in the back, trying to manipulate this man Islam into thinking he's about to get a fat payday because it's Khabib versus Conor 2.0. Maybe with not as much bad blood or bad intentions, but it's Russia versus Ireland. Just the thought of that, bro. It's going to sell a lot of pay-per-views, I'm not going to lie. And for that reason, if it's getting everybody hype, it's getting me hype. Now, is this fight particularly close? I wouldn't think so originally, okay? I would not think so, but Garry is continuing to get better and better every single fight. I do think Islam would win this fight, but I think it would be a tough fight still. I do believe it would be a tough fight. Garry, very tall, a lot taller than anybody that Islam Makhachev has fought. So it definitely would be a very, very tricky matchup for both guys. But if Islam goes up there, wins the 170-pound title, and then defends it against Garry, I'm not mad if you call him the GOAT of the sport. I know it's going to be disputed. It's going to be hard to be an undisputed UFC GOAT because we got Johnny Bones Jones, which some people dispute that since, he's cheated. He's done everything wrong in the book. He's still the GOAT right now. But if Islam goes out there, completes everything that I just stated, I'm not mad if you call him the GOAT. So obviously this fight is very situational. A lot of stipulations. Okay, I'm cooking with the vocabulary again. But a lot of stipulations, a lot of things had to fall into place for this fight to potentially happen. But if it did, look, I do want to see Islam versus Topuria. I really, really do. But if that doesn't happen and we get this instead, I'm not too mad at it. But let's continue on with the next fight, guys. This one, I just cooked up this one just a second ago, okay? Benoit Saint-Denis versus Michael Chandler. This fight's getting finished in the first 2 rounds for sure. But let's make it a 5-round fight just because. Make it a banger co-main event on a Madison Square Garden card. I'm fine with that. BSD on a losing streak, yes. He should bounce back this weekend. I'm not going to lie. He would have got messed up by Joel Alvarez. Joel Alvarez is the truth. He is moving up to 170, he announced, which good for him. I even thought of some potential matchups. I almost put Joel Alvarez versus Gilbert Burns on here. But I didn't. But that'd be a sick fight. It's a big step up in competition for Alvarez. But Alvarez is on a tear. He's only lost his UFC debut, and then his only other loss is to Arman Tsarukyan. I would not be surprised if he can go out there, put on a show, go to war with Gilbert Burns. I think it'd be a very competitive fight, but I think Joel Alvarez could get it done. But you can look at that fight as an honorable mention that I left off. But let's get into BSD versus Michael Chandler. 2 killer be killed mentalities, okay? Going to go out there, they're going to gas out after the first round. This could potentially be one of the most entertaining fights the UFC could make right now. There is absolutely zero chance that this fight were to go to a decision, okay? The odds on this fight to go the distance would probably be plus 1 million. If you were trying to round bet, the prop might be half a round. It might honestly be half a round. BSD would just Merab forward, throwing the body kicks, probably has staph infection, probably has some more diseases. We know, we talked about in my past videos, he has rabies. Michael Chandler, he might be throwing some bombs in this fight. They're both throwing bombs. They're both shooting takedowns. They're both very low IQ fighters. But it's fireworks for the fans, bro. It is fireworks for the fans. Ooh, we're throwing some alliteration in the video today. But I have never heard anybody mention this fight, okay? Yes, it's a step up in competition for BSD. Also a step down in competition for Michael Chandler. But, bro, please give Michael Chandler a step down in competition. He's been fighting straight killers his whole career. Now, he's been getting beat by these fighters, but, bro, he's fighting the best of the best. Let's let him fight Benoit Saint-Denis. I don't know, man. This is a sick matchup. Very, very sick matchup. Not the 2 biggest names. Michael Chandler definitely a bigger name. But, with that being said, somebody's getting finished, bro. Somebody's getting finished. This is pure violence. This is like 2 gladiators in the Roman Coliseum, bro. I'm down with this fight. But let's move on to the final fight that I have for y'all. Derrick Lewis versus Derrick Lewis. Now, before y'all start typing in the comments, actually, Jairzinho Rosenstruik is no longer in the UFC. I understand that, guys. I understand that. This is my proposal, okay? I'm going to put out a petition right now. I need all y'all to sign it to bring Jairzinho Rosenstruik back to the UFC on a 1-fight contract just to fight Derrick Lewis. You could put this on the same card as Dricus Plessis versus Reiner. Let's just have a whole meme card, bro. Derrick Lewis versus Jairzinho Rosenstruik actually genuinely would be a sick fight. You would not be able to tell who's who. But still, I think somebody's getting knocked out in this fight too. Jairzinho, would try to touch him up with the jab, pop with the kickboxing. Derrick Lewis would just go out there with his black beast mentality, just swinging for the fences, trying to knock your jaw out of place. Might even come out the gates with a flying knee like he did that one time. He thought he was Masvidal, and I'm not going to lie, somehow it worked. I don't know how. But Derrick Lewis, we need to see some more of that, buddy. This could just be a fun main card opener, just on the main card at all. You can put it on any card, bro. You can really put it on any card. Derrick Lewis versus Derrick Lewis. It'll get the fans excited, bro. I'm not going to lie. Jairzinho Rosenstruik, not a big name at all. But it'll get the fans excited. UFC, please, please bring Jairzinho Rosenstruik back on a 1-fight deal. I'll reach out to Dana after this video and let him know, give him my thoughts. I'll probably try to build UFC 317 for him as well, because I don't know what's going on with that. Surely we'll find out this weekend after the result of UFC 315. But if that doesn't happen, man, I don't know what to tell you. We're probably going to get something crazy, and not in a good way. But that's going to be it for me, guys. These are the UFC fights that you did not know that you needed, and after watching this video, you realize, I'm the best matchmaker out here. But y'all be sure to comment down below some fights that you want to see that maybe I've missed, and be sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well. But that's going to be it for me, and we out.